to the arena.
Hello. Welcome to my first off-meta matchups video. Off-meta matchups will be my second series on this channel. In this series I will talk about off-meta topics in League, the pros and cons of them and how they match up to meta roles and builds. I expect to make more in the future, but be sure to comment below what off-meta topic you want me to cover. You have probably already guessed from the title of this video that I will be covering Nunu support. You might think Nunu would be an okay support at best, but he actually has some merit to him. I'd like to start this video by covering Nunu's abilities and how they could be used in the support role. Nunu is already known as a jungle support or an annoying ass camp stealer for me. Nunu's Q is Consume. He targets an enemy or neutral minion and eats them, dealing 340 true damage to 980 true damage at max rank. This is why Nunu jungle is annoying when he counter jungles you. He can take any camp leader in 2 seconds by Qing and smiting it. Nunu also heals whenever he consumes a minion and grants him a stack of well-fed if it's a large minion or monster. Each stack of well-fed grants Nunu's Yeti, Will Up, increased movement speed, health, and size, maxing out at 5 stacks. Will Up also gains bonus magic damage per basic attack. The buff wears off after 50 to 70 seconds of inactivity. In the support role, you want to get most of your relic shield procs using this ability. In solo queue, many ADCs, for some reason, want to take the cannon minion away from you when you have relic shield. Not all ADCs do this, but it annoys me a lot when they do. But with this ability, you can secure it and grant yourself a stack of well-fed and bonus healing. Nunu's W is Blood Boil. Blood Boil increases Nunu's and, if possible, another nearby champ's movement speed, attack speed, and ability power. A buff was recently added that gave Nunu's W a staggeringly large percentage AP enhancement buff. This buff most likely makes Nunu's W one of the best buffing abilities in the game. As a support, you want to apply this to you and your ADC when you are about to engage, as it gives both of you movement speed and attack speed. The AP part isn't usually used in lane. But when roaming, you might want to gank mid lane, since your mid laner is most likely an AP champion and the AP bonus will help put more kick in their damage. Nunu's E is Ice Blast, a point and click, cancer-inducing snowball. Nunu throws a slow-traveling snowball that, when it connects, deals a decent amount of magic damage and also slows their movement speed and attack speed for 2 seconds. When Nunu is jungle, this ability, combined with your W, helps your laner to arrive quicker toward the slowed target. This ability is annoying to go against, as it slows your movement speed by a tremendous amount that grows larger per rank and reduces your attack speed by 25%. But this ability has a short range, meaning you can easily tell when he is going to throw this cancer glob at you and can easily run away or counter attack. As support Nunu, you want to use this ability to engage the enemy because of the amazingly annoyingly large slow and attack speed decrease. You can also use this ability to skirmish and poke at the enemy support or ADC because it has a high amount of base damage. Nunu's ultimate is Absolute Zero, in which enemies are slowed for a mediocre amount, which increases during the duration. Nunu also reduces the enemy's attack speed and charges his ult for 3 seconds. For as long as he charges his ult, he increases the amount of damage done when it is reactivated or cancelled. Nunu's ult is a hotspot for abilities to land, since nothing except silences and CCS can stop him from charging it. Many enemies want his ultimate to be cut short because it will remove the debuffs and do significantly reduced damage. In team fights, you want to wait for enemies to use some of their CCs before debuffing the war zone. It makes enemies choose either to waste a valuable CC or save it for later. The area Nunu's ult encompasses is massive, but can be easily escaped from during the beginning, when the slow is the smallest. When I play Nunu support, I like to poke enemies down in lane with my snowball. It has a lot of base damage, so you don't exactly need to gain AP for it to do a considerable amount of damage. When I engage, I use my E as well, but also use my W on the ADC, since it helps them to catch up to the slowed target. Nunu's W lasts a considerable amount of time, giving the ADC enhanced attack speed during the entire duration. When I take farm, I pick most of it up using my Q, if I'm low health. Each charge of relic shield will be longer than the cooldown of your Q, making it always available when a relic charge is able to be used. When I decide to roam, I always gank mid lane since most of the time it's an AP mage. Giving the mid laner bonus AP will allow them to deal more damage and thus increase the chances of killing the enemy laner. The runes I take on Nunu are pretty normal. I take sorcery with Airy or Comet, Ultimate Hat, Celerity, and Water Walking. I like Airy since it allows you to shield your teammates with your W. The shield allows for shield runes and items to activate its effects as well as add an extra few damage to your poke. Comet is mostly used for damage and is good when your ADC is aggressive. If you're going Airy, level up your W to level 3 then max your E. If you're going Comet, max your E, then max your W. Ultimate Hat allows you to use your ult more often, allowing you to slow and debuff your enemies more often. Celerity scales well with your W since it gives you movement speed and in turn more damage. Water Walking is mainly used when you want to roam to help other lanes get ahead, but it does help when skirmishes break out in the river. The sub-tree I like to take is Resolve with Font of Life and Second Wind. Font of Life allows your teammates to regenerate missing health by attacking enemies you see or slow. Since Nunu can either slow one enemy or the entire enemy team, he excels with this rune. Second Wind helps regenerate poke damage sustained from pre-team fights or landing phase. It's not uncommon for Second Wind to repair damage up to 5000 health every game. I love this rune on any tank since it makes almost all poke worthless during mid to late game. Some items you want to build on Nunu support are Knight's Vow and Locket of the Iron Solari, for the obvious reasons of defense. After buying the upgraded Relic Shield, I don't recommend completing it fully. Take some time to buy boots and then buy either Knight's Vow or Locket. Locket is most primarily bought when the enemy team has a lot of mixed damage, and Knight's Vow is bought when they have generally more AD damage. After buying one you can either buy the other or a strong tank item like Abyssal Mask. Abyssal Mask is bought when they have a lot of magical damage or have a carry that scales with AP. It provides a decent amount of health with mana and with the unique passive that amplifies magical damage to surrounding enemies. Redemption is a good build since it increases your overall health pool by a decent amount and it provides CDR with the added bonus of team healing. Other standard tank items such as Sunfire Cape, Spirit Visage, and Dead Man's Plate are great, but they all have a large cost that accompanies them due to being loaded with defensive stats. If you take Summon Airy, you are able to buy Athene's Unholy Grail and or Ardent Censer since the Airy Shield is able to apply the unique effects. If you buy Ardent Censer, you give the ADC much more attack speed to the point of absurdity, not even mentioning the movement speed buff from your W, lifesteal from the Ardent Censer, shield amplification on Airy, and the reasonable amount of AP you gain when you buy this item becomes almost necessary. Athene's Unholy Grail is amazing since it amplifies your mana regeneration, gives you a good portion of AP and magic resistance, allows you to heal teammates, and gives the user 20% CDR. Righteous Glory is another good item to pick up since it gives you more movement speed and another slow to your hand. Early game Nunu is pretty squishy, but during that phase, his E will do the most damage relative to your opponent's health. Nunu is a glass cannon early game, able to give people aids with his E but lacks any movement abilities that prevent him from getting poked. Mid game, Nunu gains more health, but loses the damage his E does as people start gaining resistances and health. Mid game is Nunu's limbo, he isn't tanky enough to survive long enough like any other tank, and he brings no reasonable damage or hard CC to the table. Late game, Nunu is an annoying tank that cannot be killed due to the amount of health his Q provides him and the resistances he has. Nunu's ult late game will be mainly used as a CC magnet and slow, so will his E. One underlying feature that Nunu can do is allow for a mage bot lane, since his W can work for both AP and AD users. Nunu can make a APC work bot lane or another off-meta champion, depending who it is. From this footage I'm playing with my boosted monkey of a friend that chose Gangplank, even though I held his family hostage threatening to kill them if he chose it. Please don't be this type of person. I edited the footage, but he actually sucks so much ass. Anyway, back on track, Veigar would do well as an APC, so would Ziggs due to their long range and artillery type playstyle, by standing back and damaging or bursting enemies. Zoe would be another great APC type champion that wouldn't mind the AP bonus from Nunu's W. Nunu has a couple of horrible matchups. Leona and Bram are a few notable picks. Leona can lock down your ADC and Nunu has nothing to stop her from doing so. Bram can block your cancer balls and can counter-engage with his Q to lock down you or your ADC in return. Nunu is a good pick against mage supports who aren't very aggressive, like Soraka. Nunu is at heart an aggressive support since he has no peel, but he makes up for it for buffs and slows. Thank you guys for watching the video. If you enjoyed or learned something, please don't be afraid to absolute zero the like button and ice blast the subscribe button. All help and feedback is appreciated greatly. Thank you again for watching the video. See you later in the next video, and remember kids, don't choose Gangplank ADC if you can't play him in the first place.